Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to our sunset safari. It is going to be a scorching afternoon. We've got the sun baking down on us at the moment, but the best thing is that we have Ellies all around. Now, my name is Tristan and on camera today I've got Senzo, and we are coming to you live from South Africa in the Sabi Sands Game Reserve, which means that you can ask any questions that you have about any of the wonderful things that we'll hopefully see today. And then you can do that on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or on the YouTube chat, should you want to. Now, we have come down to the dam because we had Ellies all around us, but they seem to be a little shy today. They're wanting to all disappear from view, so they were all scattered around on my right hand side. They were having a lovely mud wallow and a bit of a dust bathe, and now they just seem to be wandering into the thickets. I think it's a little hot to be in the sun. Now, Senzo, you're about to make a friend behind you because there's one that is coming directly behind Senzo at the moment. There it comes. A young bull that is bringing up the rear of the herd. You can see it's using its trunk just to sniff around a little bit, just to check where everybody else went, because I think it's lost sight of them all. They're all, like I say, down behind me. So we're going to try and get into the drainage line and see if they're going to sit and feed for a bit and at least allow us some sort of view of them, because it's been a while since we've had Ellies and I would really like to catch up with them a little bit. It's a bit warm to head towards our mating leopards from this morning, so I would like to spend a bit of time with the Ellies first before I head down and check out the leopards from today. So for those of you that missed this morning, we had Kuchava and Tingana mating, and so we left them. I went again after drive to go and take Lou and Megan to go and have a look at the mating leopards. I don't think Megan's ever seen mating leopards before this. Maybe she did, I don't know. But anyway, we went and had a look, and we also went to go retrieve the ground hornbill carcass for the researchers because they want to do some DNA testing on it, and so we went to go and retrieve that. Not that much was left of it, but well, we went and had a look anyway. So it was a nice little expedition, a hot, warm expedition, and well, I was also quite happy about it because it saved me from watching the embarrassing rugby game that was on this morning, which was the Springbok rugby game. They played the New Zealand All Blacks and the South African side got absolutely hammered, and it was really a horrible game, so I'm super glad I didn't have to watch that painful experience. I know I spoke to Brent about it. He wasn't so chuffed either. Oh, some impalas are being chased. Hey, little one. How cute is this little elephant? It's found itself a little rubbing post that it's now busy rubbing its chin on. Hello, little boy. What you doing? It's the perfect post for a little chin rub, and he's been putting his chin on top and just rubbing up against it. Now it's his forehead, and it's got nice angles on it that can alleviate any itches. Oh, we're going to have a little bum scratch. It looks like it. Yes, there we go. Got to have a bum scratch when you've had a mud wallow, and off he goes again. Come on, you've got to catch up with your mom. I always love little baby elephants. They've got so much attitude and so much life to them. There we go. Hello. What's happening? Have you had a fun day in the mud? So this little one seems as though it's had a really wonderful day in the mud because it is covered from head to toe in mud. And I was just saying to Megan before we started over our radio comms is that it's super interesting that we've got elephants back on Djuma all of a sudden, and the reason why I find it interesting is because I was on bushwalk yesterday morning and I was alluding to the fact that Gauri Dam was drying up, the water was becoming quite stagnant, it wasn't very pleasant, but that we were about to turn on the pump for the nest cam, and slowly but surely yesterday the nest cam pan, if we want to call it that, was slowly starting to fill up. The pump was on, and I can almost guarantee that these elephants have heard that pump running. They've picked up the frequency of that pump running, and they've come to drink from the clean, fresh water that has now come out. Oh, there goes a gory bush. Well, about to. Nope, it's decided to keep that one up, but it was about to fall over. I think it had pushed one more time, we would have seen a falling of a tree. But I'm going to go forward so that Senzo can actually see all of these elephants, because where I put him was behind a lot of bushes. Hello. Our little one is still wandering about. And they're spread out all through these thickets. There's lots of places here where they're going to be resting and taking it easy under the shade. And so I think what's happened is now that they've mud wallowed and had a bit of a drink, it's now time to feed and just get out of the sun for a little bit. It's so hot and so sort of windy that inside here at least the wind drops, and it's also a little bit cooler in the shady big trees of the Mulawati riverbed. So I'm pretty sure this is where our Ellies are going to head. Unfortunately for us, if they head any further south than where I am right now, it's going to be a little tough for us to follow them because it gets very dense from here. It's almost impossible. I have tried to follow lion and leopard through here before, and it's not an easy situation to do. It's very difficult terrain that goes southwards. So hopefully they will settle here and we can get a nice long sighting of them while the heat of the day passes before we, like I say, head towards our leopards a little bit later. Senzo, let me just move you again, because poor Senzo is dealing with I don't know how many trees in the way, which is not ideal, and we don't want to have 20 bushes in the way of our elephants. Also, the light is not great where I parked him, so I'm just going to go forward a little bit, also find ourselves a little bit of shade, and that will help with being able to see some of these Ellies. There we go. Is that a bit better, Senzo? I think so. Much better. But that female now just moved that entire dead tree. So the big female on the left, you see that dead tree there? That was actually sitting where she is, and she's pushed that branch right away. And we see this commonly with elephants, and that's because it's difficult to see it from this angle, but if I go around, you'll see where that tree was fallen, the grass is significantly longer than what we see around their feet and around the rest of the area, and so there'll be a bit of nutrition there that the other animals couldn't get to, and so she's now reaching in to grab that grass. There you go. You can see, look how much longer that grass is than any of the grass around here. So she knows if she moves that away, then she has access to food that many others haven't been able to find. So it's a very clever strategy and way of finding nutritious plants by using your strength that others don't have and finding them there. So very clever girl, and she's a older individual, so I'm sure she's very well experienced and has seen many a thing in life. Now we've got this little cheeky one that's got a stick that's still busy being fed upon. Hello, little one. It's so cool to be in amongst the Ellies again. I love spending time with these guys. They're always lots of fun. Now, I'm not the only one out this afternoon. I believe Jamie and Brent are also around, so let's go across to Brent so you can say hello.
Welcome to the wonderful Maasai Mara. My name is Brent Smith. I have Craig, aka the Batman. Not Batman, he is the Batman on camera with me this afternoon. And we are slowly meandering south towards the crossings. Now, we were on the other side of the river yesterday and we had an absolutely spectacular time with Amani's two daughters. And then later on, well, quite late in the evening, with the Bilashaka boys, the 6 male lions. And while we were meandering around on that side of the river, I did notice some wildebeest on the eastern side of the ridge. And it is a bush on the eastern side of the ridge. So I wonder, are they going to be moving back towards the triangle? I just want to go have a quick look from around the crossings and up on top from the Serena Ridge, see if we can see any wildebeest heading back this way. If no luck there, we will continue around west. Now, as you can see, it's beautiful and sunny up ahead. You don't even want to look behind us because it's dark and stormy. So I'm just going to pretend that dark and stormy behind me doesn't exist and keep going straight. Remember, hashtag Safari Live if you have any questions for us. We would love to hear from you. Seems like Tristan has started off well with a lovely herd of pachyderms. And we're just meandering around. As I said, it's quite chilly. There's a very cold wind coming from that large rain storm that is behind us at the moment. But we are forever sunny optimists and heading towards the sunshine. So unfortunately, this area around the Topi Plains seems to be devoid of any life at the moment, apart from the Batman and myself. So let's go back to Tristan with those wonderful elephants.
Don't worry, Brent Smith, if there's anybody in this world that will find a wildebeest in the Maasai Mara, I'm sure it will be Brent Smith, and he will most certainly find them, I'm sure, at some point. And with Batman's help, Batman is eagle-eyed Batman. He's got special technology that allows him to see better, and we've seen him spotting all kinds of little things here in the Sabi Sand, so I'm sure he will spot the migration wherever it may be. Now our Ellies are still around us, still feeding, fairly sort of sedate movements that are going on. I think it's because it's so warm, no one's really in a hurry to go anywhere, and they're feeding a lot off the gauries, which is interesting because generally Ellies don't pay too much attention to gaury trees. You know, it's a dry time of the year when the Ellies are on the gauries. It's also, I suppose, the gauries are flowering at the moment, so there is a little bit of nutrients in the flowers, but when they're feeding off the bark of gauries, you know that it's tough times and there's not as much food as they would particularly like. Elephants prefer other plants and other trees, but well, when desperate times call for desperate measures, and so that's why they are onto the gauries at the moment. The thing about gauries for an elephant is that they're actually not great because they don't provide much shade. The cats love them, but elephants are a bit small, a bit big for the gaury bush. So Dean, you say when I say hello to elephants, is it so that they don't attack me? No, it's just a habit that I've gotten into. I don't know why. I feel like elephants are such intelligent animals that there's some part of them that they kind of can be interacted with for a little bit, if that makes sense, and so I just talk to them just because it's a habit for me. I don't know, it's not really that they know what I'm saying, and it doesn't make them in any way more relaxed or more uncomfortable. As long as your voice is not being shouting. If I had to shout at them, it would certainly get them a little bit more upset, but it's not for any reason other than just like having a little discussion with them. And I find that the young ones tend to, when I talk to them, almost look at me and kind of engage with us a lot better. So it's well, not a lot better, but they engage with us a lot more. The little one was a bit upset it wasn't getting enough milk. But this is a massive female that we have on our right hand side. She is beautiful. Hello, my girl. Look at all the mud on her ears. How cool is this? She is no more than, I would say, half a meter off the front of the car at the moment and is completely relaxed. There's no ears coming out. She's not in any way worried about us. Just kind of having a little look and checking, and this other mom is guiding her baby. Look, she's giving a little nudge just to get it round past the front of the car, so everybody's just making sure that the little one is okay. So first the big female, which is probably grandmother, making sure that the little one gets a safe passage by walking first, and now you see mom waits for the little one to go, holds off the rear, and then mom goes so that it's now safe. How cool is that? It's very, very, very special to be in that close proximity to a herd of elephants. It's something that we are so fortunate to have here in the Sabi Sands, is these relaxed elephants that really don't care about us very much. And I still believe that there is something about our vehicles that elephants completely don't fear. I don't know if it's maybe the smaller size, or there is something about it that they're curious, but I really, in my time in the Sabi Sands, I've never had elephants in such close proximity as I've had with these vehicles. They tend to be so much more relaxed around these small little Land Rovers. Maybe it's because there's no tracker on the front seat that they get a little bit more kind of chilled out with the vehicle, and hence they come a little bit closer. Although when I was at Singita, there was no trackers on those seats, and the elephants didn't do what they do here. So I have a firm feeling that whatever signal we're broadcasting, these elephants maybe are picking up in some way, and that's why they come in closer. They come and investigate and see what's going on and just check what's happening with us, because it really is quite amazing how often we get some sort of interaction and how close these elephants come in proximity to the vehicle. I know that Scott has had incredible sightings. Tara, Byron, Brent, Jamie, everybody has had these most amazing sightings of these elephants looming over their cars, and never really too aggressive. Most of the time it's just a sniffing or a looking and just seeing what's going on and making sure that they kind of figure it out, and then off they go again. So it really is quite amazing the difference between this car and a normal safari vehicle. Ali, no, the thing about elephants is they generally give you a nice warning should you have some sort of issue. So if they are upset or they not really want you close, they will have some sort of way of showing it. So either the ears will be out, their heads raised and lifted, they'll be trumpeting, there'll be some sort of aggression towards you, and for the most part these elephants don't really do that to us. So when they come close like that, it's not really a concern. I don't get intimidated by it. I know that they're just passing through and there's no aggressive sign to us, and they have chosen at the end of the day to come closer. Remember that female was behind me feeding off a tree, and she walked directly towards us and has chosen that, okay, we're a safe enough animal to approach, and has moved past us. If it was something like a big bull elephant elephant in must, and he was a lot more aggressive in terms of his ears were out, he was shaking his head, he was not happy, then yes, I would be a little bit more intimidated and would give them a lot more space. But these elephants ultimately, and that's kind of the rule that I always live by, is that I'll park somewhere within an elephant herd and close-ish to them, and if they decide they want to come towards me, well then that's their prerogative, and generally they do. Generally they come past and they come right up close, and they are in no way aggressive because they've made the decision. If I had to drive that close to a female elephant as I arrived here, I can guarantee you that I would end up with my car being rolled backwards and probably a very upset elephant. Most of the time you might find she runs away, but a lot of the time she'd be very aggressive because she feels threatened. But if you're parking further away and allowing the animals to walk towards you, then generally you're okay. Now it seems as though the Ellies have all moved. I don't know if I can find them in here. I'm gonna try. There's one there that we can at least still see. The rest have disappeared to my left where it is very thick. So if you have a look on this left hand side just how thick it is, it's amazing how quickly it disappears in there. Now Mr. Crowley, you say, is it true that you can stop a charging elephant by raising your hands? Now this is a different herd. We've got a whole new herd that's arriving. This is not the same herd that we had earlier. Look, none of these elephants have any mud on them, and they're walking a lot faster, and they're heading towards the dam. So they've obviously worked out that there is water, and look, they're just appearing out of everywhere all around us. We've got one right here on my right hand side who's going to come into frame shortly there over the front of the car. So hello guys, where did you all come from? Have you also heard that there's fresh water in town? It's almost like a new bar has opened and everybody's coming in to check it out, and it's the opening night. So everyone is arriving, which is super cool. Hopefully we'll get them going and drinking at the dam itself. They are heading in that direction, so I'm going to probably follow them as they go. Hello. Now, I'll get back to the question now about whether or not you can stop a charging elephant with your hand. It's just, like I say, I got a bit excited because this is a whole different grouping that's heading actually towards the dam, and now we don't have to worry about following through a dense thicket. We can just follow these guys to the dam and hopefully get them swimming and playing in the mud. Right, but the whole story about raising your hand, yes, possibly. It could happen that you could stop an elephant charge with your hand if you were... Oh, alright, sorry, there's still more of them coming. I shouldn't have moved just yet. There's still another female and a young one that are coming through, but that's okay. They've got space to move behind me. They're just going past Senzo at the back, and then we can move with them. But the thing is about elephants, when you try and stop a charge, it depends on the elephant itself. I've seen some people shouting, raising their hands, and it doesn't stop a charge. The charge just keeps coming. Or I've seen people that... Sorry, I've got flies all over my face that are really driving me crazy. But I've seen also people just standing up, and that's enough to stop them. Generally, though, in all the experiences I've had with elephants, and when they've been aggressive, is if you just raise your voice a little bit and stand up and try and make yourself as big as possible, which would entail you lifting your hand up, that generally is enough to kind of get them to think twice. Maybe not stop them, but they definitely think twice, and they'll slow down and reassess the situation. So it is a worthwhile thing to do, but it takes a lot of courage to do that. When an elephant's bearing down at you, and you're talking about a 7-ton bull elephant with big tusks, and dust is coming at you, and for you to stand up and just hold your ground there, it takes some doing, and it's an interesting way to do it. There's the other school of thought, and it's a thought of a lot of the trails guides in the sort of central parts of Africa, Botswana and Zambia, is that they will often sit and they will curl up into a tight ball, and in that way they're making themselves completely non-threatening, and they believe that that's the better way to go than to be shouting at the elephant. They think that if you're non-threatening and you just sit there, the elephants realize, hang on, we're much stronger than whatever this animal is here, let's just leave it alone and carry on. And some of the guys swear by that technique. I'm not so sure I would trust that technique fully, but apparently it does work, and so, well, one day we'll have to try it. All I know is, and all the experience that I've had with on foot and charging animals, or elephants in general, is the smaller you are, the quieter you are, generally the better the experience you have with the elephants. They generally don't get as sort of noticed about, you don't get noticed by them, and it's only when they come a little bit close, and you don't actually shout or anything like that. If they get too close, you just make some sort of metallic sound. So what we always used to do is, when we carried the rifle, the magazine plate, you just tap the plate and the plate rattles a little bit, and it makes like a ticking sound of metal, and that normally the elephants know straight away that's not a natural sound, and they stop, and they will then kind of look and reassess, but it's not a threatening sound, it's not a loud sound, and they kind of see, okay, whoa, there's something here, and that's when they'll stop and then move off. So that's how I always learnt and how I've been taught and what's kind of worked for me in the past. In terms of vehicles, when an elephant is very upset and you've shouted a little bit at it and you've kind of tried to stop it and it hasn't, and it's still being upset, then the best thing is just to move out of the area. We have cars that have gears that can go faster than an elephant can charge, so it's best just to get out of the area and leave the elephants alone. But we are about to be treated to the most special show of elephants in the mud, and this has got to be my favorite thing. Look at the little ones, how they've dived in already, just like naughty children. They've just run in and literally off their feet into the mud. Look at how they're playing. If that's not happiness, I don't know what is. It's basically the best possible way that you could see an elephant. Is that fun, guys? Look at how much fun they're having. Two of them literally ran and dived. They didn't even slow down. They basically fell into the mud, and now they're just having an absolute whale of a time. You can see the adults are a little bit more restrained. Not much, but a little bit more restrained than what the young ones are. Oh, that just looks like the most fun. Can you imagine if you're a hot elephant that's been walking in this dry, dusty, warm afternoon and you come across this where there's some cool mud and you can jump in and have a really good wallow? It is the best way to spend an afternoon if you're an elephant. Very cool. Now the previous herd would have done exactly the same because we saw how covered in mud they are, but this is now the next sort of grouping that's now here trying to do the same. And you can hear how much mud is being splashed around at the moment. It's amazing how... Oh. I love it when elephants are like this. This is the best thing. They really are having an absolute ball in this mud. Then you say the best thing ever is watching elephants playing in the water in the mud. It is the best thing. It is amazing to watch. I always love it when Ellies are in the mud. They seem, like I say, to have the best time ever. They really seem to enjoy themselves and have as much fun as is possible. They slide in and they push themselves around and they absolutely go crazy. I mean, look at them. Even the big adults are involved. They're also in the mud, also having a good time and throwing mud around. So it's not just the little ones that do it. The big ones are also in there, also enjoying themselves to the best of their ability. So fun is not only if you're small. Monique in London, you say you love how the little ones lie on their sides and kick their legs. Well, exactly. They get in there and it's almost like we can't have one little bit of us without water on it and mud on it, so we're going to kick our legs and go crazy as much as we can. Oh, everybody's just stopped all of a sudden. And look at this one on the far right. He's passed out almost in the mud. It's like, head first, I can't do it anymore. I'm too tired. This is how I want to sleep, is now with my head in the mud. It's cooler that way. It's so cool to see. Paula, you say who's ready for their spa treatment? Mud baths are half price today. So, well, it seems like it. It's amazing how from no elephants, all of a sudden we have these Ellies all over the place. So I wonder if, like I say, the word got out that we have got the pump running and that water is available, and that's why everybody is now coming to investigate and check out what is going on. But how cool is this? That is the most joyful group of elephants I've seen in quite some time. They are absolutely loving that Gauri Dam is a big mud wallow at the moment, and why I can't blame them. I suppose at the end of the day it's really dry out there at the moment and there's not exactly much in the way of water holes, particularly muddy ones like this, that the little ones can have such a good time in without having to worry about getting into too deeper water. They can just enjoy themselves and splash around and have the most fun ever. Tristan, you're wondering if there's any terrapins in this water? Yes, there most definitely are. I can actually see some of them being kind of pushed by the bow wave. So in front of me, there's 1 or 2 heads popping out, and in front of the elephants, so they've been disturbed a little bit. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. The Ellies have come in and they've taken over, and this is what's going to happen at Gauri Dam. The next, I would say, maybe 2 weeks that this dam's going to last for, because after about 2 weeks, I reckon this dam is going to be dry, and we're not going to see too much in the way of water here. But in the next 2 weeks, we're going to see a situation where these Ellies are going to have the best time as they come and roll around. You can actually see it's very shallow, even towards this middle section. They are right on top of the mud, so it's going to dry quickly. But the nice thing is they've got very thick mud that they can get into, that they can cover themselves, and then they can go to the nest cam and have a drink over there of clean water, which is absolutely perfect. Riza, are you saying, is there a reason that they're not going deeper? Could they get stuck? Well, yes, elephants can get stuck from time to time. I have heard of and seen elephants being stuck, but it's not that. They're just enjoying that edge of the water. Remember, they came over the dam wall, and that's the first part that they've gotten to, so that's why they are enjoying that side there. As soon as we get into a situation where that part gets a bit muddy and they've utilized that bit of water, then they're going to start moving forward as they're doing. You can see, look how they're encroaching forward slowly but surely towards the left. So it's not deep at all. This whole dam is pretty shallow now. It's flat. There's no more sort of dip in the dam. The deepest part is where we are right now. So it's, at the moment, this is as deep as it's going to get, and so they're just playing on the mud that they have. And like I say, this dam will dry out within the next 2 weeks, so there's not like it's deep water in any way. They're just having a good time on the edge and slowly but surely coming forward, and you'll see they'll start to lie a little bit here even, and then from there they're going to go and drink behind us at the nest cam. But how cool is this to have watched? There was just the most happiness ever in this particular sighting. The little ones in particular were just the cutest thing as they went about playing, and they almost look like twins in their size. You can see they're both very similar in size. Romy, you're asking if the male elephants are more likely to wallow in the mud or if it's the females. Well, Romy, no, it doesn't matter. As you can see here, males, females, everybody got involved. It's more a temperature thing, although the males do like a good mud wallow from time to time. But I find actually with the males is that a lot of them like to swim, so they like to go into places like Chitwa Dam where it's deep and they can go right in and kind of wet themselves, whereas the babies and the mothers, they like muddy, shallow areas like this where the babies can also wallow and not just be on their own. But that was just wonderful. That was as good as it gets for an elephant sighting. They're slowly but surely starting to kind of finish up now and move off, but it really was as good as you could ever ask for. Well, this little one's decided, no, I'm not done yet. I want to still drink some more water. Maybe you want to splash a bit more. Yes, let's go splashing around. Come on. Very cool. So, Megan, if you can just repeat that for me. Sorry, I didn't hear the first part. So, Larissa, you're asking if desert elephants would react to water bodies like these elephants do. I would imagine so. I'd imagine an elephant is an elephant and water is water. And if they, the desert elephants, they would be kind of probably consume water before they did anything else because of the lack of water there. But at the same time, they know that they've got to look after their skin. They know they've got to cool their body down. And if they're coming across lots of different water sources, they certainly are going to make their way to those areas, and they're going to go and drink and to go and wallow and use the water to cool themselves down. So I think they would be the exact same. It would probably take them a few kind of weeks to work it out, but they would eventually be the exact same in the way that they went about their business. But just as quickly as they came, they are now departing, and we got absolutely spoiled by these guys. They really did come in at the perfect time. We must have joined just at the right time to get here. Chitty chitty bang bang, you saying who's having more fun, the elephants or myself and Senzo? I think probably a bit of, maybe let's share the spoils half because I was absolutely loving that. That was such a cool time to see, and just the joy that those elephants had when they came running into the water and literally just dived. It was like watching kids at the beach where they just get so besotted in the water or at a swimming pool and they run in and it's just playing and splashing. And obviously for Senzo as a cameraman, that's always the best when you've got animals that are active and playing, and it just really makes it interesting and worth kind of doing. So it was most definitely, I think, a shared spoils in who had more fun. Now I'm not sure who I'm supposed to link to. I missed it because I was too excited, but let's go across them. So it's either going to be Jamie or Brent. Either way, it will be fun.
Well, nothing happening around the Mara River. So we've sailed into the sea of grass to the south. And we're hoping, we might find Egyptian goose pride, salt lick pride we've never seen before pride. That's the wonderful thing about being out here. You never know what's going to happen next. And as you can see, we're keeping away from that dark cloud, staying in the light. But hopefully it doesn't chase us. So the interesting thing about the Mara is you've got these vast areas that are at the moment are almost completely devoid of large mammals. Of course, there are going to be lots of little things, rodents and insects and birds, and the lions will move in and around these areas looking for food. So will the leopard and that, but it can be quite tough, as you can see. I mean, there's just, not even a zebra or a Thompson's gazelle in sight at the moment. And also with the huge amount of rain we've been having, there's lots of little water puddles all over the place. So they're not focused on the areas that we used to. Now, Tanya in Australia wants to know, with all the rain we've had, does the grass get sour? Actually, it has the opposite effect on grass that has been grazed. So the wildebeest have been through here. They have shortened the grass, so the rain will then cause a growth spurt from that short grass, and that grass will be very sweet and very good quality, so not sour at all. And that's why the wildebeest continuously follow the rain. I still think they're going to pop back. They're all off to the east and to the northeast at the moment. I still think they're going to come back into the triangle. When? I'm not too sure. It has been raining all over at the moment. At the moment, we're looking at termite mounds and termite mounds and the odd gardenia tree in a sea of red grass. Now, the lions do have a sort of favorite hangouts, so we're going to go check a few of those this afternoon, see if we get any luck there. Okay, well, we're going to try find a heartbeat while we do that. Let's go to Tristan, who's got something that at least this time is alive. Yesterday, he had a dead one.
Well, it's our murderous group of ground hornbills that we've got in this area. So they're busy running down the road. Unfortunately, we've got another vehicle in front of us, so they've just taken off and ran. But they are spread out all over the place. There's 7 of them in total, which is the normal group that we see in this particular section. So there is one that's just running down the road. I don't know if you can see it there, Senzo. Might just have one gap on it. I believe they were down at the dam cam most of the afternoon, which you can see how the bills are open. They're hot, and so our group of bandits, as we shall call them, are slowly but surely going down the road. Now, I've decided that we're going to name our alpha pair Helga the Horrible and Hannibal Hector. That's our male and female alpha ground hornbills that run the gang, and they are the ones that are responsible for the death of our poor ground hornbill yesterday, but it was the most insane sighting, and I'm certainly loving that these ground hornbills are spending so much time here. It's not a bird we get to see that often, so it really is special that we're getting to have a look and find it and see them, and getting some extended period of time in with the hornbills. But you can see they're still a little bit nervous. They're getting better. Yesterday they were moving a lot quicker than this, but they're still a little nervous of us as we move around. Now most of them are adults from what I can see. I counted 7, but the ones that I could see nicely was the front 4, and they were all adults. It looked like the alpha male and female. The alpha female's got that purpley blue patch underneath the beak, and so it's easy to tell her from the others. And there they go, disappearing into the long grass as they do. Wonderful. If they're an omen as to what's going to go on for the next little bit, well, then it's a good sign, because yesterday was the most ridiculous afternoon. This morning was crazy, and so far this afternoon, well, we've had an amazing time of it already. We've been absolutely spoilt. It's almost become as though the animals have gone crazy the last month, and it's silly season in Djuma, and there's just things happening all over the place. So I'm certainly not complaining. It's been a wonderful couple days that we've had. Senzos have been good to be back. You've been right back in the thick of it. You've had mating leopards, ground hornbills, swimming elephants. It's all happening for Senzo. Now it seems like there are quite a few vehicles that are trying to make their way to the leopards, but they can't find them, so we're gonna probably head in that direction, just see if we can help them out, because all the guys that are going there weren't there this morning, so they don't really know where they're looking. So we'll head in that direction, like I say, just give them a little helping hand, show them exactly where they need to go, because it's not an easy place to negotiate, and it's not an easy way to find them because of where they were. They moved slightly in the morning, a little bit more kind of east of where we had them, so it's not going to be that easy if you haven't been there to locate them. It's a dense, thick area, so we'll give them a little hand with that after our elephants have disappeared. So I suppose that was our plan anyway. OD Farming, you're saying, do I think the Murder Hornbills? I suppose we need to call them like Murder Inc. Maybe Murder Inc. is going to be their name from now on. Murder Incorporated will be the ground hornbills group name. But will they have the taste for hornbill now? No, I don't think so. This whole thing has come out of territorial fights because it's breeding season, and like I say, I've seen other birds do this. I've seen bearded scrub robins, if you can believe it, killing one another. I'll try and pull up the photos somewhere and show you guys a little bit later, but I've seen bearded scrub robins pecking at each other's brains and trying to kill one another, and that was quite crazy. In fact, we had the most murderous of scrub robins ever at the Singita Staff Village. It killed 2 bearded scrub robins and a white-browed scrub robin, so it was really on a rampage in one breeding season. So it's all out of breeding and fighting, and it's like I said this morning, it's exactly like lions fighting over territories and females. Male lions will go at each other and kill each other because it's all about competition, and so the males don't want any intruder coming in. He wants that female for himself. He's going to push out any competition and make sure that he's keeping it all to himself, because he doesn't want to have to share the spoils with any of the others, that's for sure. So it's the reason why we're seeing this situation and why those hornbills killed him. The taste of it, well, I think it's more just come out of the fact that they've killed it. There's an opportunity to regain nutrients that they've expended by killing that animal, and so that's why they're doing it. It's the same with, I've seen lions eating other lions. We know Moya ate one of her cubs. It doesn't mean she now hunts leopards. She doesn't have the taste for leopards. She just reabsorbed the nutrients because she has they expended nutrients in killing it, and so she, in that case, didn't actually even kill it, but she still ate her cub just to get the nutrient value back in. You'll often see it also with pregnant animals that have just given birth. They often eat the placenta, one to get rid of the smell and to get rid of any sign of the baby, but also to regain nutrients that they've expended during pregnancy. So it is a kind of way that things get done. Philip, a group of them, I'm not sure if there is a collective noun for them, as we always refer to them as flocks normally. I'm sure there is some sort of collective noun for hornbills, but it's considered to be a flock, and that's where the name is, well, as far as I know. But maybe we can start calling them a murder of ground hornbills. Like I say, Murder Inc. is a good name for this particular grouping. I was thinking of Suicide Squad, but then I realized that that wouldn't be the case because it wasn't a suicide, it was a completely planned attack, so we can't use Suicide Squad, but they can be called Murder Inc. or maybe Motley Crue. What are the famous bandit groups? So, Megs, who was that said that? Somebody said the Killer Click. Lou from FC says the Killer Click. I feel like there could be some famous nasty people out there that maybe formed a grouping together that were murderous in their intentions, and maybe we can use them as our name. Although I like Murder Inc. It seems to work, and because of Murder of Crows, it kind of works for our ground hornbills. They're also black in coloration, and a little diker. Run, diker, be careful. Luckily the diker turned the right way, because if it runs in that direction it's going to have a problem. If it runs that way it should be okay. That's away from the leopards, that's towards the leopards, which is not where you want to go as a diker. Running into one leopard must be bad enough, but running into two I don't think would be very pleasant. And actually James Richard reminded me of this morning, I was just saw one of his comments that Tingana once killed a warthog when they was mating leopards, and there was a bit of confusion between two different females that arrived, and he killed a warthog in that process. So it just goes to show that they do hunt even when mating. They will go after one another and cause a bit of trouble. So that's how it works. Right, now I'm going to try and see if I can get to these leopards, because they're up on the bank here somewhere. So we should be there in 2 seconds. I'm just going to quickly engage our diff lock so that I can get up in here, because going all the way around is going to be a pointless exercise because there's traffic that side. So we're just going to cut past everybody and just go this way and quickly just jump into the side of life. So now we're on basically on the 2-track that takes us towards where our leopard pair was. Now hopefully they are here. I would imagine with the heat that we've had today, I would really doubt if they went anywhere. I'm pretty sure with this heat they're still sleeping, unless something bumped into them and that they decided that there was some sort of reason that they needed to move, but I doubt that they would have. It's, like I say, very hot today, so it's perfect conditions for a leopard pair just to have a little nap. Although I don't see them yet. We've still got quite a way to go though, actually. We've still got a little bit further to head before we get to where they were. They were just up in front here somewhere. I still don't see them though, under the tree where we left them. Maybe we'll have to do a bit of tracking to find them. I don't think they will have gone far though. Might just have to do a bit of driving around. They were just in front to the right. No, nothing. You can see them. There they are. So they are right there, and they're just about to mate as well. So let's quickly get in here and we should be able to see them mating. I see Kuchava is in front and busy tempting and trying to get Tingana. There we go. And that's the welcome that we're getting. There we go. Hello guys. Welcome to our afternoon of mating leopards. That's a very warm welcome from our leopards. And Kuchava seems very thrilled about that. Well done, girl. Now I just quickly need to go let these guys know where we are, because the rest of them are all waiting for us to find them. So I'm just going to let the guys know and tell them where we are so that they can all come in. Yeah, Aubrey, I've relocated on these Ingwes. Just come from Mamba, go east out of the Mulawati. You'll see a 2-track that comes north. Just follow that in and you'll find my vehicle, not far from the road. So there we go, we just help those guys quickly. and back to sleep again. It was all very brief and very fast, but that's how it is in the leopard world. It's never a long drawn out process, but I reckon from here they're going to mate a little bit, it's going to start cooling down, and then they're going to be on the move again, and I think they're going to go for water. So I'm hoping that it's either back towards Twin Dams, or we're going to march towards Gauri Dam where the elephants were, and we're going to go all the way for water on that side. That's what I think anyway, and I'm pretty sure both of these individuals are hot. They've probably panted, they've exerted energy through the day, which means that there's going to be a massive amount of evaporation that has taken place, and they are going to be a little bit dehydrated, and so they're going to want water, and I'm pretty sure they're going to head to where there is water. You can see she looks a bit grumpy this afternoon. Maybe the heat is getting to her. Now, a lot of you are happy that our honeymoon couple is still around in this area. It is nice to see, isn't it? I'm so glad that she's come up this way, because who knows what's going to happen now, whether or not she's going to end up being a female that we're going to start to see coming up this way again in the future. At least she's seen this area and now knows that there is a potential for her to come up and see what's going on here. So it's going to be interesting to kind of watch her movements over the next couple of years and see how she decides to move around. Beautiful though, isn't it? You can see she's just looking around. It's interesting with her though, it seems as though every time I start a car, or a car starts, these two go at it. It's almost like it's a challenge to her when she hears the car moving, that she's able to go and mate and kind of say, this is my male, you that's making a noise, back off, I am here to look after it. Mimi, you say there's so much romance and flowers between these leopards. I'm not no, not much romance. No, there isn't much romance. There's a lot of fighting that goes on. But at the end of the day, it's not because they actually like each other. It's because they want to mate and they want to just get it done. And it's not a very pleasant experience. And so they just have to bear with it, do it, and there's a bit of aggression because obviously, like I say, there's pain involved in it. He bites her, he's got this barbed penis that hurts when he retracts, and so there's a lot of clawing and growling, and she then lashes out with her claws, which causes him to get upset, and it's all just a whole process that carries on. So it's a pretty crazy way of things happening, but it works for them. They seem to manage just fine and seem to be able to do what they need to do. So really cool that they're at least here, and at least they are getting the job done, and hopefully, like I say, in 3 months time, well, 95 days, we will end up with little cubbies from Kuchava. Can you imagine how cute they will be? Another set of Tingana babies. It will be interesting though if she starts to mate with Quarantine. I'm going to be quite keen to see over the next little bit if Quarantine becomes her next target in this mating game that she's got to play. Head's still up, which is good news. Hopefully these guys will decide to spend a bit of time head up and be quite active, and hopefully we'll see them actually mating regularly this afternoon. I'm sure we will, and like I say, I'm pretty sure they are going to go for water as well at some point this afternoon. It has been a hot, dry day, and so I'm pretty sure they're going to want to head in that direction for water. Right, we're going to sit here, we're going to spend some time, we're going to build our tent and camp out here, and while we do that, let's go across to Jamie, who's bumbling the Mara.
We made it out this evening. Once again, a very good afternoon, or at this point, evening to all of you. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon we would like to extend a very warm welcome back to Fergus, who is back on camera once again. Now, for those of you that have only been watching over the last few days, I'm really not always late. I promise I'm not always late. This was not my fault. I think Fergus sabotaged the vehicle. He just, I don't know. His first day back at work and everything broke. We got to about this point, and we had to turn around and go back up the hill because just nothing was working. It seems that the last few days we've been most unfortunate in that regard. But we're out. Fergus is back from leave. We're very happy to have Ferg back from leave, even if I do blame him for breaking everything.
Very happy to be welcomed back to the day too.
Good. Good, I'm glad. Good, I'm glad, Ferg. During that time, I've spilled tea down my sleeve, you know that moment where it just goes dribbling down right to your elbow, and I caught my foot on the windscreen, which should teach me to wear shoes, and the rain covers have all come undone. So it's been a fantastic start to the afternoon. You can only go up from here. Don't say that. Don't say that. Alright, don't forget, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter is how you get hold of us. We are going to go and see if the sausage tree pride is still where I left them from this morning. I think they're going to be. They've got very full bellies. And we'll go into the evening with them. Hopefully they decide to give us some roars. And maybe we can figure out why that female was calling throughout the morning. But first, I see some elephants. Let's go round to them. OD farming, wow. Chantal kicking me off there with a serious question. So Odie's question is, why is there a sensitivity towards anthropomorphism? Or not anthropomorphism, or anthropomorphizing animals. So essentially, why are we cautious of projecting human emotions onto animals? I think there's two sides to that argument. One, I think that we can be blinded by human feelings into not fully understanding the way that animals act around each other. So if we anthropomorphize too much, things like lion hunts or crocodiles or crossings, everything like that becomes cruel and pointless from a human perspective, because we just don't understand the way that everything ties into each other. There's also a risk of explaining what is actually a natural behavior through human eyes. So we believe that, for example, we talked about it this morning, we believe that elephants intervene in cases where predators are hunting other animals because they want to save the other animal's life, which I don't believe is the case. I think it's an instinct because elephants don't like predators. However, I also think that the sensitivity around anthropomorphizing has set us back in certain respects. I think to shy away from it completely and to only view animals through a cold and scientific in a cold and scientific way is dangerous. And there's quite a few biologists who are starting to come round to that point of view. The trick is to find the balance, I think. To remember that nature is nature, and nature isn't human, or doesn't see things the way that we do as human beings. But at the same time, we've got to remember that animals are thinking, feeling creatures as well. And somewhere in there's a balance. And the difficulty is as well, with that comes, with over-anthropomorphizing something, people become... Now this is going to be difficult to explain. People become overly concerned with the individual, and whilst that is incredibly important, we must never lose sight of the fact that what we really want is conservation of a species as a whole, and what's best for the ecosystem as a whole. So that is my 2 cents on anthropomorphizing. I do sometimes. I find myself doing it regularly, and I'm not sure that that's a bad thing, because I also don't believe we understand everything there is to know about these animals, especially not something like an elephant. We've touched the tip of the iceberg. We've come a long way in the last 50 years. We've still got a long way to go. Which is why I always talk about the fact that if I could, to spend a day in the mind of an animal, thinking, experiencing their senses in the way that they do, communicating with the others in the way that they do, whilst impossible, would be the ultimate dream. And I definitely would like to be an elephant for a day. And that, of course, also really ties in beautifully with Philip's question. Well done, Philip. That was a very well-timed question. Yes, the herds communicate with each other, and yes, they are amiable with each other. And I think there is a huge amount that we don't know. I have seen elephant herds, separate elephant herds, meet up at a waterhole and show what I see through my anthropomorphizing eyes, and I believe that it's true. They show joy at seeing those herd members, and they run up and they greet each other, and the little ones especially go running up to their friends. They obviously know each other. They'll go and they'll touch trunks. They'll put their trunks over each other's heads and touch their temporal glands with their trunks. So yes, they are amiable with each other. A lot of the time, elephant herds in an area, not a lot of the time, occasionally, elephant herds in an area are actually related to each other, and there's just been a split for one reason or another. But even strangers will go and greet each other, they'll feed together, sometimes they'll stay together for weeks at a time. That makes elephants very special. And that ties in nicely to what we were saying about not fully understanding everything there is to know about these animals. Which to me is half the fun of the job, isn't it? Being able to say, no matter what I look at, and no matter how much I learn, I'll never know it all. I know that you had an absolutely spectacular sighting with Tristan, and the reason that I know that is because I was in final control watching it, and I was feeling a little bit of envy. It seems as though his afternoon has gone from strength to strength. Let's go back to Tingana and Kuchava.
It has, Jamie. We've just been spoilt this afternoon so far. In fact, we've been spoilt for a number of days now, and the Sabi Sands has been living up to its name as one of the premier destinations for game viewing and for leopards in particular. We've had the most luck ever that we could imagine with our leopards. There's been Tingana's been around. We've obviously got these mating leopards and a number of other individuals. They just have mated right now about 2 seconds ago, just before Jamie linked to us. You can see Kuchava still standing in the back, looking longingly at Tingana, so I'm sure we're going to have a situation where she will mate again fairly shortly. They're right on the precipice of the Mulawati riverbed, though. It really does drop off. You can see there's the Mulawati just down below, so I would imagine that they're slowly but surely starting to move. They've moved quite a bit from where we first had them already, so while we were off air they started to move in a sort of westerly direction, northwesterly direction into the Mulawati, and I'm pretty sure that's where they're going to go, is Mulawati riverbed, and then from there it's going to be interesting whether they go north-south and whether they're going towards Twin Dams or up towards Gauri Dam, like we were talking about earlier. But the thing is about these mating leopards is always the best thing is just to stick with the male, because no matter what the female does, she'll always come back to him, and so as long as you've got the male, you will be able to then follow and be able to keep up with them. And we know that unfortunately for us, Tingana can be a bit elusive, so it's going to be a busy afternoon to say the least as we try and keep up with these guys. But he is looking fantastic, isn't he? And you can see how he's panting. So that's all just to try and cool this body down. I was saying it is a warm afternoon, and that tongue that is moving like that and is panting is because he's taking deep breaths. And what happens is the saliva on the mouth, the tongue, that as he's breathing is causing evaporation. Now evaporation causes cooling, and cooling, they cool the blood in the tongue and the gums and the mouth, and that blood then goes into the rest of the body and cools this cat down. So the leopards and other cats have to be very careful with these kind of things, because at the end of the day they can overheat, and so they've got to control their temperature by doing this. It's much the same as an elephant would flap its ears and use mud to cool itself down. Leopards just breathe heavily like this to be able to then get into a better sort of condition and to make sure that that heat doesn't develop too much. Now Kuchava looks like she might come again. She's slowly on her way, staring at Tingana. She's not sitting properly. She's kind of halfway up. So I think she will come towards him. And hopefully if she does, she's going to lie down right in front, and we'll get teeth and claws and everything facing straight towards us, which should be quite nice. And we'll really get a good view of the mating process. Just now we had the back end of it, which was a little bit of an obscene show, that's for sure. So hopefully we won't get that again. Although generally with Tingana, she has to kind of push her bum into his face and has to lie right next to him for him to do anything, or right in front of him, and then he just kind of gets up and does it, and then takes a few steps away. So vibrating tombstone, you want to know how long leopards have to mate for before they're completely finished? Well, it depends on the way things go. But so just to give you a background, leopards and cats are not like us as humans that go through an ovulation cycle, and they will then ovulate every sort of 20 whatever days it is. And cats are a little bit different. What happens with them is that they come into what's called estrus, which is when the hormones increase, and it's a time when they can start to release eggs. That's when they'll actively scent mark, try and urinate, and from there males will pick up that urine and pick up the scent and know, okay, there's a female in estrus. He then actively searches out that female, finds her, they come together, and they'll start the mating process. What happens with the female is, and the barbs on the penis of this male, is that those barbs scrape the inner walls of the vagina, and that causes the female to actually start releasing eggs when the sperm is then released. And so they mate like that because that period of heightened hormones lasts for anywhere between 3 and 5 days. Generally about 5 days is the most that it will go, and they then will do that. If she comes across another male in 3 days' time, that same process will start happening again. So she'll go back into an estrous cycle, back into producing eggs, and she'll start to mate again. So it's pretty rapid with the cats, but it generally we find between mating sections is between 3 and 4 weeks. That's normally about what we would see on an average with these cats, but they are able to mate as soon as possible. Who was that now? Sounded like one of them was hissing or growling at us. I didn't see. Senzo, was one of them growling? Maybe it was Kuchava just growling at Tingana. I don't know. I don't think so. Who's unhappy? One of them was unhappy. James, not as far as I know. I suppose it's possible, but not as far as I know. James is wondering if the females have ever had cubs without establishing a territory. Not, like I say, as far as I've ever seen, but if it were to happen, it would be in a situation like this, like with Kuchava, where she's young and she doesn't quite have an established territory. She falls pregnant and then she has cubs. But the thing about cubs is that when a female is pregnant, she's actively scent marking, actively making sure that she's getting everything sorted out and getting a territory marked out so that other females are not in that area and causing trouble, or that there's not a situation where there's some random males walking about. So she becomes very protective of the cubs even before they're born, and she does all the preparation work by actively patrolling, moving big distances, covering area, marking, scraping, calling, and she tries to set up that territory. So I think it would be highly unlikely that a leopard would not go about all of that prep work before she has the cubs, because she knows if she didn't, that would probably be the end of it. I suppose you do get inexperienced females, and maybe there has been one or two, but I've certainly never heard about it. All the cubs that I've seen have been from females that have set up a territory and have actively scent marked and gone about their business prior to them having the cubs. But very cool to see Tingana. Look at the size of those paws. I wonder how many kilometers or miles those paws have covered in his years. You can see one claw sticking out a little bit over there. So those are the claws that are sheathed. And remember, with big cats, other than, well, big cats actually, so if we think about lion, leopard, tiger, jaguars, they have the sheath claws, and basically what happens is the claw protracts. It doesn't retract. So a lot of people will say claws retract, and that's when claws are inside the actual paw, pulled inside and are actually out. Protract is when they're inside the paws and they are pushed out physically by extending a ligament, and that's what happens with leopards, is that they actually push the claw out, and the reason why is because those claws will be sharp and they want to stay sharp. So if they had them out like a cheetah or hyenas or dogs, the claws will constantly wear and will be blunted, much like a dog's paws, as opposed to cats that will be very sharp, and they're able then to grip and grab predators using claws and their paws, rather than the dog or hyena method where it's to grab them with their mouths. Vera, as we were discussing earlier, yes, leopards will hunt even when they're mating. If an opportunity comes along, a leopard will certainly take it. They are opportunistic animals, which means that they will get any opportunity they can and they will grab it with both paws, so to speak, and they will hunt for sure. So I was talking earlier about Tingana when he grabbed a warthog when there was a bit of confusion between two females that he was mating with, and so it does happen. I have seen leopards on kills and mating at the same time. You can see he's got a very big round belly. Now yesterday afternoon, I can't remember if his belly was that round. I hypothesized that it wasn't, and that they might have had something to eat last night, because I can't remember his belly being as round as that yesterday. I might be wrong. I just, getting the excitement of seeing mating leopards, I might have missed that he had a round tummy, but I think in all likelihood they might have got a small snack last night, maybe a little scrub hair or something, as they were walking around. And it happens quite often when they're mating. They disturb things like scrub hairs or little duikers as they're moving around, and then they grab them and they finish them off quite quickly and off they go again. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does. He's definitely got a fuller tummy than what she does, and I'm sure it's fuller than what we saw yesterday. Now she at the moment is also sleeping again. They both kind of have gone to sleep for now. I'm pretty sure that they will wake up again. Like I say, it's every time some car moves, they end up getting going, so I'm pretty sure they will. And the sun where it is now is going to hit Tingana and Kuchava shortly. They're not going to get much shade from where they are, so I'm pretty sure they're going to start moving down towards the banks of the Mulawati, which can only get better for us. The views down there would be amazing if they were on the bank of the Mulawati and they were then started to mate, because we would be at eye level. Now that would be something that I can honestly say I haven't experienced with the leopards yet. I haven't been eye level with a mating leopard where it's kind of staring at you from the same sort of height that you are. But the thought of mating right now seems to be long gone in Tingana's mind. He seems to be all about having an afternoon nap and keeping flies away from his nose as he paws away. Now I believe Jamie has replicated the start of our drive and has started her drive with a beautiful herd of elephants.
It seems as though we're having an elephant-filled afternoon, and we just had to stop for this intriguing little character. This female calf has been keeping us so thoroughly entertained. Earlier on, she plucked a piece of dried grass, I think dropped by an elephant a couple of days ago, put it in her mouth and decided that was actually really disgusting. Here you go, yes, that's how you use... Oh, not quite, almost. That's how you use your trunk. That's how Mum does it, eh? How does... Oh! Oopsie! Fall down. There you go. Well, when in doubt, if the trunk doesn't work, just pop it in your mouth. It'll work. No, not all it's cracked up to be, is it? Not nearly as nice as Mum's milk. Up you get. She's also playing with the vehicles, running up and then bouncing up and down. Yes, you show that grass who's boss. What is your goal here, little one? Now you're getting prodded by Mum because you're in her way. What exactly is your plan? Yes, this whole trunk thing is actually quite difficult, isn't it? All those muscles. And you have to learn to coordinate. Mum makes it look so easy. Headbutting into the grass. Philip, no, elephants don't wet nurse for each other. They don't allosuckle, although the bonds between the herd members are very, very strong. Generally speaking, they only really have sufficient supplies for one baby elephant, and that's why twins are unusual in the elephant world, just because one baby... No, that's even worse than the original clump. That's just straw. One baby takes a significant amount of Mum's resources. However, the females, when they reach the age of about 4 or 5, they will actually start to help to babysit the younger ones. They'll practice their mothering skills. They'll sort of not nurse the babies, but they'll guide them. They'll look after them. You'll often see a female prepubescent elephant guiding little calves around, pushing them back towards their mums, being exceptionally tolerant of their playful behavior, and all in all acting in the way that all good big sisters should. So in that sense, the baby has got many, many females to support it, but unfortunately not allosuckle it. Paula, this calf is under a year old, I would say. I would put it at around about 6 or so months. It has not mastered the art of feeding just yet, but she is showing interest in it. So elephants will start to eat solid food around about 6 months old, but they don't wean for another 2 years after that, possibly even longer, depending on how tolerant Mum is. So, oh, there's a car started. I better run back to Mum, be left behind. So whilst they will nibble on food at 6 months old, they're still suckling. So I think that she's showing interest. I think that she hasn't quite got to the point where she's really... Oh! Thanks so much, John. Hi, guys. Thanks. Shame. People squeezing round us on the outside edge so they don't get in our shot. Here you go. Mum's tail. A constant presence. Yes. Mum, please give me some milk. It was much nicer than that horrible grass stuff. Skeeter, yes, elephants can breathe through their trunks and their mouths, just like human beings can. If you watch them, the way that when they drink, they breathe through their mouths, but most of the time, or a lot of the time, they're breathing through their noses. So that whole, just like humans, it's structured in a very similar way. Obviously, our noses aren't quite trunk length. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's much nicer, isn't it? Much better. So now, while baby suckles, she'll be breathing through her trunk, and for the most part, elephants do breathe through their trunks. But they will be able to breathe through their mouths as well. Oh, Mum, I wasn't finished yet. Wait, Mum. Wait, Mum. There you go. Roshni, in terms of baby elephants developing their trunks fully, I don't know that there's a exact specific age where their trunks just work perfectly. So I've seen 3-year-old elephants, they still make mistakes, but as I said, at 6 months they are eating food. Shame, let me move out of this person's way. Oh, they've made it already. Hi guys! Thank you, sorry. Let me get onto the right side of the road. So I've seen baby elephants at 3 years old. This is going to make Fergus's life really difficult. Sorry, Ferg. Beautiful angle. Beautiful. Sorry about that. At 3 years old, they still occasionally aren't terribly coordinated, but at 6 months old, they really have to start using their trunks to try and supplement their diet. So at around about 6 months old, they're starting to get the hang of it. Elephant's trunk, of course, when it is first born, is proportionately shorter than the adults, because otherwise they trip and fall over them, which to me is one of the most adorable facts about elephants. Come on, Mom. I just want to have some dinner. Stop. Well, give her 10 out of 10 for persistence. My favorite thing about baby elephants when they suckle is that trunk. Just too sweet. Okay, I suppose we should tear ourselves away from the charming baby elephant, go off in search of the sausage pride that are fat on a zebra. Meantime, Brent is sitting with animals that the sausage pride would very much enjoy a meal of.
We are in an area where I have never been before, and we're in search of anything, and we've come across a nice little group of topi and zebra, and the migration was around here. You can see how short the grass is, but the wind is howling, and there's a remnant from the migration off to the right who didn't make it this time. There we go. So even with the beautiful little white flowers and the lovely zebra around, there's still the reminder that Africa is and can be a very harsh mistress. And it's very, very pretty here, even though the wind is howling. And we've seen some ravines, we've seen some luggers, and we've seen some warthog, and since then this is about the only animals we've seen. So there's not much out here at the moment, and we've got some lightning down off to the southwest of us, and I'm just going to get up to the top of the rise and show you Tanzania in the distance. Sorry, Topes. Now, the main reason I've come into this area that I have not explored much before is I heard a rumor that the cheetah coalition might, or does sometimes, come into this area, and I thought, well, this afternoon was a good enough time. So this is a coalition of 2 males, not to be confused with the 5 marauders, the musketeers, on the eastern bank of the Mara. Now, between these little inselbergs, and that's what this part of the park is quite well known for, are these little inselbergs, these little sort of mountains that just pop out and are standing completely alone. I'm just trying to get just over this ridge here. We can see a bit of the Serengeti off to the south there. I'm trying to get, there we go, that's a good view. Look at that. So way in the distance there, below those dark and ominous clouds, is Tanzania and the Serengeti. So they're one of those little inselbergs I was referring to. Now there are quite a few in this area. If I remember correctly, that one is called, no, that one's not Safari Com Hill. The other one, just beyond that, is called Safari Com Hill. So these little stand-alone mountains. That could be, that is Safari Com, yeah, that is Safari Com Hill there. So let's keep moving a little bit. Now, my plan from here is I'm going to take a duck down towards the Purungat Bridge, and who knows... Oh! Rosy-throated longclaw, rosy-throated longclaw, birders, get ready! Now, this is one I've been trying to find for you for ages. And just ducked behind that little mound over there. Now, in this cold wind, you might stay down. Let's just have a quick look. Come on. Where are you hiding? They are absolutely gorgeous. We see the yellow-throated a lot, but the rosy-throated not so much. He disappeared into this section of rocks here. Do you see where he went, Craig? Are you hiding from us, longclaw? This longclaw is There he is, there he is! Fighting the wind. Oh my goodness. Yay! Can we see the pink? Have you got him there, Craig? Just, okay. I'm just going to move forward a bit. Now, that incredible pink. So he looks as drab as a pipit. Then all of a sudden, as they explode out, you just see that bright pink. Oh my goodness, he's doing... You got him? Oh, there he is, there he is. Now you're supposed to look this way. Look this way. Show us that beautiful rosy throat of yours. No, he's not really doing that for us. He's scuttling away. And it is such a stark... Oh, he's gone off to the... Oh, no, I've lost him. Okay, there he is. Hang on, let's see him. Okay. If you come out from that little lump, come further to the right. He's in there now with that grass moving. Let me just try... I'm just going to try go again a little bit further forward. Cause you got him now, Craig? Hopping, hopping, hopping. Oh, there he goes. Darn it. You might land a bit higher. You got him. Flying above the termite mound. Boop. No, that termite mound. Okay. Down to the left a little. Here, zoom. And up a little bit. Okay, wait, one last try. Our adventure into unknown lands, if we can get a nice view of the rosy-throated longclaw, has certainly been worthwhile. So he landed just beyond this little mound. Okay, oh darn it, I saw him 2 seconds too late and now he's taken off. You just watch where he lands. Now this wind, there we go, well done Greg. Oh, nope, and into the grass again. Okay, I said last try, but one more last try. Now, as a lot of you know, if you are new, I get very excited by birds. I'm a big birder, and so is Tristan for that matter. Quite often have a little competition, an internal competition between the two of us going. Now, where did he land? Somewhere here, Craig. A bit further. Beyond this long grass. Somewhere here. Oh, Craig's got him. There we go. Oh, we got a brief view of that brilliant pink throat. Now, it actually extends quite far down, but this wind isn't ideal. Isn't that gorgeous? Well, thank you very much, and sorry for harassing you a little bit, Longclaw, but that was... Oh, there we go. He's going to turn towards us. Look at that. There we go. There's that brilliantly pink rosy throat, and it extends all the way down onto the tummy. Absolutely gorgeous bird. Definitely one of my favorites in the Mara. Many birders will cut off their left toe to see one of those. Now, even though I know Tristan is sitting with gorgeous mating leopards, he's definitely going to be a little jealous over a rosy-throated longclaw.
I'm very jealous, but Brent will be jealous about my mating leopard, so we're all good. But I definitely can't wait to see Brent again and go through all the birds that he's managed to see. I'm pretty sure he's seen some crazy cool birds in the Mara, and I know if it's anything to go by that Brent has done some serious birding. He's one of those that loves his birds, but we have the most ridiculous view of these leopards, so exactly what I wanted in terms of them coming out into the open and spending time right on the sort of banks is what has happened for us, which is fantastic news. So we've got them right here next to us, and how cool is that? And look at the two of them now. Hopefully they're going to mate right next to us. That's the kind of hope here. How cool is this, guys? Look, they're going to mate right here. So there we go. That is exactly what I wanted. I wanted them to be eye level with us, and they did it. It seems as though the leopards are doing everything that we're asking of them, and like I say, it doesn't get any better than what we're seeing right now with them out in the open, just like they are now. It really is a leopard heaven. And if you've ever wanted to see an incredible sighting, and actually funny enough, I've got two friends that are on the vehicle in front of me, and one has never seen mating leopards and the other one has never seen Tingana, and they've both been repeatedly into this area, and so I'm super excited for both of them that they're getting just absolutely spoiled. And on top of it, in the place that we're in now is just a absolute dream. It is beautiful on the banks here. Unfortunately, the light has just gone a little bit too low to actually see nicely, but to have gorgeous sort of golden light on them, but we still have them right at eye level, and it is an absolutely beautiful moment to have. So super excited that they're down here, and it is wonderful that at least the two of them have come out a little bit. They were a bit hidden in the thicket at one stage, so I'm just glad that they're a little bit more out in the open now. So it doesn't get any better than that. So for anybody that wanted to ever see two leopards, and whoever wanted to see mating leopards, like I say, it really doesn't get much better than what we're seeing right now from these two. I'm pretty sure you'll see Tingana lying there for a little bit, and then once he's done, Kuchava will side to come back again at some point, and then we'll see them mating again, and then maybe he'll get up and start moving. But for now, he's going to be very happy just to sit, and so is she. Maasai Kuchava is usually found in around Chitwa and Cheetah Plains and those areas. That's the normal kind of area for Kuchava. That's where she likes to hang around mostly. She does sometimes get seen into sort of Chitwa and a little bit into Nkoro, but for the most part it is around that particular section that we see her. So she's way out of her territory at the moment. Today is the first day ever that this leopard has ever been anywhere near Djuma. We've never ever seen her on Djuma before, so it's a first for us to have her this side of the world. It is just beautiful sitting here in the Mulawati drainage with these two, and isn't she so regal? She does look a lot like her mom. Well, I think so anyway. Hello, boy. Tingana's giving us that look as if to say, I'm also regal. She's not more regal than I am. Very, very special indeed. You can see they're still panting quite heavily at the moment, so he's still a little bit on the warm side, and I'm not surprised given the activity that he's had to do today and also how warm it is. It's not surprising at all that he's a little bit on the hot side at the moment, but he'll cool down. It's now at least a bit of a breeze that's blowing, and with that sun starting to go down now, it's definitely the temperature is changing. So there we go, here she comes again. You can see he's not too interested at this stage. He's kind of just like, really, can't you see that I'm just... How crazy was that? Well done, Senzo. That was awesome. That's as good as it gets, guys. We've just been absolutely spoiled by what's just happened. And Senzo got that perfectly. Good job, buddy. Ashley, you're wondering if the females bleed after all this mating? No, not that I've ever seen, unless there's a bit of, they do get a bit of blood on the necks and a bit of blood that sometimes kind of forms around the ear areas, but never actually from the constant mating that we see. Maybe internally a little bit of blood, but not that I've ever noticed coming out of them. I'm going to try and sort of keep up with them a little bit, because obviously it's difficult in the riverbed given that we've got quite a few vehicles, so I'm going to try and get up a little bit. No, I don't know if Wendy will go up this bank. Let's try. We can see if she's... No, she won't go up. It's too steep for Wendy. Rusty, I think, would have made it. Wendy's a little bit less powerful than what Rusty is, so we would have had a situation where I think Wendy is unfortunately going to have to be stuck on the actual riverbed itself. Right, let's go forward just a little, because it's as good as it gets here. And while we do that, let's go across to Brent, who I think is enjoying a little bit of sunshine in the Mara.
Well, welcome back. So just after we left the Rosy-throated longclaw, we've come across some lions. I have absolutely no idea who they are, but they are very pretty. Well, she's quite pretty. She's got a little bit of mud around her front. They are very full as well. But this big female is not as full as the little female, who has obviously found something tasty buried in a mud wallow. And you can see her there, that fat belly, but she is completely covered in mud. Oh, lazy girls. Maybe they caught a zebra or topi as they were going for a drink and managed to scrag one in the mud. Fat girl. Now, nice and cool for her out in the open here with this very strong wind blowing. I've just kept on keeping an eye out. I thought there might be some other lions around, maybe in one of the little rocky outcrops that we're close to, but it doesn't look like it at the moment. There we go. You can see all the way down to the east. Those mountains in the distance are Tanzania again, and if we have a careful look, let me figure out exactly where we are. There's that long sloping mountain going down, that's heading down towards, that's the Sand River Valley around that area, and Salas. So we can see, that's one thing about here, the amazing vistas that we do get from some of the higher points. And I said, unfortunately, I have no idea who this pride is. I've never seen them before, but that's half the fun of coming to an area that you've never been before. You can see heavy breathing. Obviously had a good meal. Another reason Mara lions will often like to lie out in the open like this, and especially when the wind's quite strong, is it keeps a lot of the biting flies away from them. And with a full belly, they'll be nice and toasty from digesting whatever they've snacked upon. Oh, too tired. 4 words. Yes, you are too tired, you are too fat, and we've got some more new areas to explore. So I think we're going to shortly leave these gorgeous girls to continue digesting whatever that is that they might have caught. And we're going to head down towards the Purungat Bridge, which is just over that ridge in front of me there. And who knows, maybe we'll have some luck with that gorgeous leopard, the Majichafu female. Or maybe we'll find the Majichafu female mating to compete with Tristan's mating leopards. Although, Tristan, you have to admit, I know I've definitely seen leopards mating far more times than I've seen rosy-throated longclaw. What about you?
Probably you have. That's probably very true, Brent Smith. But it's okay, I don't really mind. I'll take my mating leopards over your longclaw today because, well, we've just got the most ridiculous scene. We've got Tingana lying, I would say, probably 2 meters from the left of the car here, and Kuchava up on the bank posing beautifully, sun setting in the background. It is the most magical scene, so I'm quite happy for you to have your longclaws while I enjoy my leopards on this side of the world. I quite think that we are being spoilt a lot more than what you are this afternoon, so certainly quite happy to have it. Now, of course, Brent and I pretty much just joke with each other all the time about this stuff. We're not actually very serious about giving each other this much trouble. We really just give each other a little bit of a joke just because it's fun, and we always are competitive, and that's just the way the two of us are. It's always been the way our friendship's been, and we give each other a lot of trouble, but we actually, like I say, at heart, always looking out for each other's best interests. So it doesn't really matter too much who's got what. We're both happy when each one has got good stuff to see. So I'm super glad he got the rosy-throated longclaw. I know it makes him excited, and I hope he does get a leopard. I was talking to him the other day, and he was saying that he's had a few really good leopard sightings, but unfortunately they just haven't gotten them live yet, which is not ideal, but they will, I'm sure. Here she comes. I'm sure they're going to mate now, so we'll be in the prime position for this, which is going to be super cool. See how she runs in front. And up they go. So they continue their march northwards by the looks of things. Tingana is slowly but surely heading further and further north and dragging Kuchava with him. Now we really are approaching very close to where we had that leopard this morning on foot, so I reckon we're going to be in a situation where we're going to see them if that leopard's still around, that we're going to bump into them. Now, of course, I want to try and get around onto the top there because the light on top is going to be just so beautiful, but I don't think we're going to be able to get going here, so we're going to have to wait for these guys to move. Come on, guys, come on. There we go. So we're going to try and get around as quick as possible because the light is going to be spectacular. Come on, Aubrey. Now the cruisers are much heavier than what we've got here, so it's going to be a lot easier for us to drive in the sand than what they have, as you can see by them stopping. So the Land Rover is a much lighter vehicle, and when you're in sand like this, it is a much easier vehicle to be able to drive. And the light that we're about to get on these two Leopards is going to be absolutely phenomenal. We're about to get as spoiled could be. Not that we haven't been spoiled already, but it's about to get that much better. This is exactly where I had that leopard on foot, right here in front of where we're about to turn. So just straight in ahead of me in that area is where I had that leopard running away from me. So that's where we're heading. Hopefully that leopard with all the noise, maybe if it was Tumblr, might have heard all of this and moved off and gone somewhere else. Otherwise it's about to be rudely interrupted by two beautiful spotted cats. And here comes Tingana. Look at him just strolling through this grass and the golden light. Are you going to go back down again? How cool is that, just to watch these two spotted cats, and look at how nice that light is. Orange light. And they're going to walk right next to us. We're going to be in the prime position for these two. We're going to see them literally emerging right in front of us, or next to us, should I say. How cool is that, guys? It really is as good as it gets. Riti, you wonder why she always initiates the mating, because, well, she wants to mate more than he does, so she's in a situation where she's being driven to mate, so she doesn't really have to she wants the ovulating process to happen, and she wants to mate and to breed a lot more than what Tingana does, and that's why she's pushing a lot harder than what he is, and so that's why she initiates it. Sometimes you'll find the male will kind of come up and sniff behind. I find lions tend to be a lot more in that way inclined, where they will try and sort of sniff the female and make the female kind of sort of bend around towards him, whereas leopards, it seems it's the other way around. The female really pushes the male. He gets kind of a little bit tired of this process and ends up stopping. But this is exactly where we were this morning, literally to the point. So I wonder if he's going to pick up a scent. I see he's stopped in this little thicket now and he's just looking around, so I wonder if he's maybe smelt whoever it was that was here. Unless my eyes completely deceived me, which I suppose is possible. We're getting older these days. Now, I want to just quickly get ahead of him because he's walking straight down a path. So we're going to just turn around quickly, Senzo. And it should be really nice because they both should come in a single file, much like a lion pride, straight towards us, which is going to be as spectacular as you could ever wish for. So there they're coming. They're going to come straight over the top. How good is that, guys? And look at him with his tail up. That's as good as it gets, I can tell you right now. And she's also got tail up. And they're basically just telling the squirrels that are, or the francolins that are alarm calling at them, don't come near me. I wonder where they're going. He's leading her completely Tingana style all over the place. He's going into thickets now and starting to go deeper in. He'll eventually go towards Chelapan and he'll come out that side. Remember the other day, I don't know if any of you remember the other day when we were with them and they were going after, or Tingana at least, was going after a impala. This is exactly where we were. Hold on, Senzo, it's going to be a bit thick in here. Trying to avoid decapitating myself for the 10th time today. back towards the Mulawati. But now, can I get down here? I'm not sure I can. Well, I should be able to get down here. Alright, there he is there. So as long as, like I say, we keep up with him, the light on these two is going to be phenomenal. And they're going to carry on. See, look how he's sniffing. You see he's sniffing now? This is, like I say, is where we were this morning. And you see, he nose to the ground, and so is she. They've both picked up the scent of something here. So I wonder if we're not about to bump into another leopard. I wouldn't be surprised at all that we bump into another individual somewhere here. The two of them have both got noses right down into the ground. So they know that there was another leopard here, and they're picking up that scent. I wouldn't be surprised we see a bit of phlegm and grimacing as well as they move forward. Look, he's salivating, you see. So it was a young male track, so he knows that that's a male, and he's now salivating heavily that there's a different individual in this area. So definitely another leopard that's causing a bit of a stir. Now you see his scent marking on top. So if that leopard urinated there, he's now scent marking and providing a very clear signal that I don't care who you are, I'm now marking on top of you. This is my territory, not yours. Really interesting behavior, and like I say, I wouldn't be surprised we're about to bump into another individual. Right, Senzo, this is going to be steep, it's going to be quite nasty, so just hold on while we get down here. I just want to straighten myself out a little bit so that we don't end up rolling the car, because ultimately we don't want to do that. We like Wendy the way she is. Lev, you asking why leopards drool when preparing to fight for territory. Well, it's like you getting sweaty palms when you get nervous or you get into a state of excitement. It's the exact same thing. It's your body's response to an increased amount of adrenaline. That's why they start to salivate the way that they do. So it's just a response to adrenaline, as he's now picking up the scent of this other leopard, so the adrenaline is spiking, and that's why he's getting it. Now look at this. How cool is this with the light in the background? The sun just reflecting off his coat. Sure. So I don't know where she's gone. She was somewhere behind us here, but I think she's somewhere. Did you see her, Senzo? Can you see her? Senzo says you can still see her. She's still behind us. But how beautiful is that? That's as good as it gets when it comes to a leopard in the golden light. And you can see, look how he's busy scenting every little part of that grass stem. So he knows that there is something that is here, and he's checking out everywhere where this particular individual may have walked to make sure that he works out exactly who this is. Tingana, you're going to fall down this bank if you carry on the way you are. How beautiful is that though, guys? And now scent marking, a bit of dust, urinating.